Bench mob? Let's talk Black Monday. It happens every year in the NFL. The regular season ends and teams finally make the moves that a lot of fans have been calling for all season. A bunch of coaches who failed to meet expectations suddenly have a lot in common with middle school boys after gym class. They all got the axe. God, remember Axe Chocolate? Whoever thought that was a good idea? And that creepy mascot guy? Ugh. So, which of these firings made sense and which of them did not? Yeah, we'll get to that. Before we do, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an upload. There is plenty of content on the way. Alright, let's run down the list. First, we've got Mike Zimmer. Now, this one should really come as a surprise to no one. When you're considered a defensive specialist as a head coach and you end up having one of the worst defenses in the NFL, that's not exactly a good way for you to keep your job. Now, head coaches have a long list of responsibilities, so I know defense wasn't his only focus, but when you're completely failing at something that used to be your trademark and you're firmly mediocre at all other aspects of your job, you're gonna get the boot. It's like if a three-point specialist forgot how to shoot threes. Are you really gonna keep him around? If Duncan Robinson woke up one day and couldn't shoot threes anymore, he'd be waiting tables at an Olive Garden by 8 p.m. I think in hindsight, Zimmer's tenure in Minnesota won't be remembered for defense. His real trademark ended up being a lot like the Bills in the 90s. He was known for coming up short. Just 3 playoff appearances and 2 playoff wins in 8 years. And one of those wins was thanks to the Minneapolis Miracle. Now hear me out. Yes, that play was iconic, and you can never take that away from Minnesota, Case Keenum, or Stephon Diggs, but think of it this way. The Vikings were one Marcus Williams missed tackle away from another first-round exit, after going 13-3 in the regular season. One Marcus Williams missed tackle away from the Vikings not having a playoff win in Zimmer's first 4 seasons, despite winning the division twice. All I'm saying is he might have been fired a lot sooner if this dude had his Wheaties that morning, especially since Zimmer was only a half game above 500 the following season. Instead, he got a couple more chances, but after going below 500 for each of the past 2 seasons, it was time for a change. You know, Matt Nagy did almost nothing but confuse me the entire season. He knew he was on the hot seat coming into the year. He knew he had to win to save his job. And who did he put his faith into? Andy Dalton. Questionable decision making from Nagy right off the bat. If you're trying to save your job, why are you choosing such a boring, mediocre quarterback to lead the charge when you have a dual threat, exciting rookie quarterback who you just spent a first round pick on? Now that the season's over, I know Justin Fields didn't play that well either, which was also largely Nagy's fault. But when you're coming into a season and it's do or die for your job, why not roll the dice on the kid? Like, alright, hear me out. Let's compare Dalton and Fields to 2 choices for dinner, right? You can either have unseasoned, overcooked, bland chicken, or the mystery dish. In this situation, you take the mystery dish because the only way you're saving your job is if it ends up being filet mignon. If it ends up being a dead squirrel, well, at least you tried. Anyway, eventually Fields did take the job, and Nagy took advantage of this by basically pretending it was still Andy Dalton. In Fields' first start, it seemed like Nagy actively refused to get creative with his play calling. He barely ever moved Fields out of the pocket to take advantage of his mobility and only called 2 designed quarterback runs. Because of this, I assume Nagy is also the kind of guy to buy a giant flat screen TV just to watch standard definition channels. Or he was that kid on Christmas that gets an expensive new toy and just plays with the box. Or he puts ketchup on his steak, which he also prefers well done. 2 steak references in one video. I must be hungry. Back to the point, I think Dan Orlovsky put it best when he said that this play calling was either negligence or intentional sabotage. And all of this is fascinating because once upon a time, Nagy was actually known for his creative play calling. In theory, the Bears probably looked at it like, hey, we've got this smart head coach off the Andy Reid coaching tree. We've got this young, promising, athletic quarterback. This sounds familiar. This could be awesome. Instead, Nagy decided to turn his brain off and try and mold Justin Fields into Ben Roethlisberger. Why? We will literally never know. Goes without saying, but Bears, good call here. This one, I don't know. I don't know about this one. It's not as straightforward as the Nagy and Zimmer firings, at least to me. The Broncos' issues this year were on offense and special teams, and at the end of the day, yes, it's on Fangio to make the necessary changes to fix those things. But let's not kid ourselves. The Broncos' lack of success is a quarterback issue. Tiny Hands Teddy Bridgewater and the Jeezy wannabe are not the answer here, and in the NFL, below average quarterback play is the kiss of death. Especially when every other team in your division has their franchise quarterback, and at least 2 of them look like they'll be somewhere in the MVP conversation every year. Good luck going into every season knowing that at the bare minimum, 6 of your games will be against teams that are absolutely blowing you out of the water in terms of talent at the quarterback position. It's the definition of bringing a knife to a gunfight, except the Broncos arguably don't even have a knife. More of a pool noodle. Or a ramen noodle. Or nothing. Honestly, they might as well have nothing. But yeah, until they fix the quarterback problem, I don't care if they resurrect Vince Lombardi himself and put him on the sideline. This team will top out at 8-9. And finally, Brian Flores, Dolphins. What are you doing? Now, I know you came into the season with playoff hopes, and rightfully so, and you fell short of those expectations. But good lord, guys, can we please try and remember that Flores is the reason you had those expectations to begin with? The Dolphins have had a winning record just 3 times in the past 13 seasons. Brian Flores accounted for 2 of those, and they've come in the past 2 seasons. 19 wins in 2 seasons. I think Matthew Berry put it best when he said that if Flores won 19 games in 2 seasons in Washington, they'd build him a statue. Like, who do you think you're gonna get that's gonna be better? Are you guys resurrecting Vince Lombardi? Now, initially there were rumors that Miami may have had Jim Harbaugh lined up for the head coach position, but Dolphins owner Stephen Ross is a Michigan alum and major benefactor to the school, so he doesn't want to take Harbaugh away, which makes sense. Plus, why would Harbaugh want to leave Michigan, where all he has to do to make people happy is beat Ohio State, just to come to Miami, where they just fired the guy that swept the Patriots? I think the Dolphins messed up firing Flores. Allegedly, there was a power struggle between Flores and Dolphins ownership. They didn't feel he was being collaborative, they didn't like that he was changing his coaching staff so much, whatever. All I know is what he was doing, relatively speaking, was working. The Dolphins are the only team in NFL history to start a season 1-7 and finish with a winning record. The guy knows how to motivate his players and win games even in the face of adversity. So yeah, I don't get this one. But as a Patriots fan, I guess I'm not complaining. Also, real quick, why are the Giants keeping Joe Judge? Pause, hold it right there. So for whatever reason, the Giants decided to do a little hezzy and not fire Joe Judge on Monday. They actually said they were keeping him. So when I recorded this initially, he still had a job. Thankfully for the Giants and their fans, the team finally came to their senses. Not sure why it took so long though, because if it was me, the second I see my team run a QB sneak on 3rd and 9 in the last game of the season, I'm kicking the entire coaching staff to the curb so fast I'd break my foot. But better late than never, I guess. Those are all the coaching casualties from Black Monday. How do you guys feel about it? Did these teams make the right calls? And where do you see these guys landing next? Let me know in the comments, and of course, be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you guys for watching. Love you guys. I will see you next time.